Ever wondered how to make realistic burnout smoke in Blender? Today, we're creating this awesome car burnout smoke simulation. Super easy and perfect for beginners. We'll cover the animation, the smoke simulation, and the render settings step by step. Stick around till the end to see the final result. Let's get started. All right, let's get started. First, I'm just going to delete the default cube. Now, press F4, click on Append, and make sure you've downloaded the rigged car model from the link in the description. Open up that blend file, click Append, then go into the Collection folder, select Final, and click Append again. And there we go, we've got our fully rigged car model in the scene. Now, let's start animating. I'll drag the timeline up so we can see it better, select the car rig, switch over to Pose mode, and select this main control bone. In the bone properties, add a keyframe right here on frame 1. Move forward a few frames, push the car forward, and add another keyframe. Now go back about 4 or 5 frames, drop in another keyframe, and then drag that last one a few frames forward. If we play this back, yeah, you can see the little jump in motion starting to happen. Next, let's spin those tires. On frame 24, select a tire bone and add a rotation keyframe. Jump to frame 180, set the X rotation to 1000, and add another keyframe. Do the same thing for the other tire. Frame 24, rotation keyframe, frame 180, X rotation to 1000, keyframe. Now that's looking a bit too slow, so let's fix that. Select both keyframes, right-click, set interpolation to linear. Now bump that final value up from 1000 to 10,000. If your tires are spinning the wrong way, just make the rotation negative. Let's add some drift now. Select the steering bone. On the frame where the drift starts, add a Z rotation keyframe. Go forward a few frames, turn it, and add another one. Keep adding a few more keyframes to make that nice drifting motion. Now I'll tweak the burnout timing. Grab the first tire keyframe, slide it earlier in the timeline so it starts spinning sooner. Do the same thing for the other tire. And finally, let's throw in some suspension movement. Select the top suspension bone and add a few keyframes moving it up and down so it reacts during the drift. And there we go. Our animation is done. The car moves, the tires spin like crazy, the steering drifts, and the suspension bounces. Perfect for a burnout scene.
All right, now let's add some smoke to make this burnout look awesome. First, add a cylinder. Go into edit mode and delete the top and bottom faces. Back in object mode, scale it down and position it right at the tire. Go back to edit mode, press A to select everything, then Shift D to duplicate. Move the duplicate over and fit it to the position of the second tire. Now, switch back to object mode, select the car rig, and go to pose mode. Pick the bone that matches the tire position. Go back to object mode, select the cylinder, then Shift select the rig, press Ctrl P, and choose bone. Next, we need a collision object for the smoke to interact with. Select the car body, press Shift D to duplicate and move it aside. Press Alt P to clear the parent. Now Ctrl J to join the parts together. Head over to the Modifier tab, add a Remesh modifier, set the mode to Blocks, and increase the depth value to 6. Apply the modifier, then move this object back into position over the car. Now select the collision object we created, then Shift select the car rig, press Ctrl P, and choose Bone again so it follows along. If I play this now, the setup's ready, so let's make some smoke. All right, let's turn our cylinders into smoke emitters. First, select the cylinder, go up to Object, Quick Effects, and Quick Smoke, that instantly gives us a smoke domain and an emitter. Let's scale the domain, not too much, just enough to cover the area we need, like this. Now, select the collision model we made earlier. Go into the physics properties, add a fluid modifier, and set the type to effector. Then hide it in the viewport and in the render so it won't be visible. Next, select the smoke domain. In the fluid settings, set the resolution divisions. You can go higher like 128 or even 264 for more detail. But for this tutorial, I'm keeping it at 64 so it runs faster. Scroll down, turn on Adaptive Domain, and set the threshold to 0.005. Enable Dissolve and set the time to 20. Turn on Noise for extra fine details. Under Cache, set the end frame to 180 and change the cache type to All so we can bake everything at once. In Fluid World, change the gravity to 0.5 for a lighter floaty smoke. In the gas settings, set the buoyancy density to -5 and heat to 0. If I play this now, the smoke sinks, so let's adjust that. Set the buoyancy to -2 or -3 and heat to 1. Now it's looking much better. Let's add some movement. Add a turbulence force, move it near the smoke, and set the strength to 3. Then add a wind force, rotate it so it blows across the smoke, and move it into position. Animate the wind strength so it changes. Some frames at 0, some at 1, and some at 2 to make the smoke more dynamic. And that's the smoke done. Now let's move on to the shading and rendering.
Also, one thing I forgot to mention, let's bake the simulation. Select the domain, go to Physics Properties, and set the resolution. You can increase it to 128 or even 264, but for this tutorial, I'll keep it at 64. Scroll down to the cache section, set the cache type to All, and then hit Bake.
Now let's set up the render scene. Go to the render properties, switch from Eevee to cycles, and change the device from CPU to GPU for faster rendering. Set the render samples to 20 and make sure denoising is turned on. Switch to render view, and you'll notice the smoke might look a bit strange here, but don't worry. In the final render, it'll look fine. Let's hide the smoke domain for now so we can work on the scene. Add a ground plane, scale it up nice and big, then add an area light. Set the strength to around 500 so we get some good lighting. Now, drag the timeline up and switch the editor to Shader Editor. You'll see the car's material has multiple color nodes: blue, yellow, black, and white. I'm gonna go with black, but you can choose whichever you like. Add some extra lights around the car for more highlights. Select the ground plane, add a new material, turn the roughness down for a bit more reflection, and make the base color a light gray. Unhide the smoke domain, then in the shader editor, press A and then period on your numpad to frame all the nodes. Add a volume info node and connect its density output into the shader's density input. Add a math node between them, change it from add to multiply. Adjust this value until the smoke density looks right. Now, here's a nice touch. Hover your cursor over the math node's value and press I to keyframe it. On frame 20, set the value to 0. On frame 40, set it to 2.3 or whatever works for your scene. This way, the smoke fades in during the burnout. Finally, add a camera, frame your shot, and we are done. And that's it. We've got our car burnout animation with spinning tires, drifting, suspension bounce, realistic smoke, and a final cinematic render. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like the video, subscribe for more Blender tutorials, and let me know in the comments what effect you want to see next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.